Thank you. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar hosted by PCET PBS. I am Mr. Rishikesh Kumar, Assistant Professor at SBPM. Would like to welcome you all to the session by CA Pramod Jansar on the topic how to compute profit under Section 198 of the Companies Act 2013. I would like to request CA Pramod Jansar to please take charge and begin the session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Rishikesh. Today's topic, calculation of profit as per Section 198 of the Companies Act 2013. This topic is a technical one. It is more for the chartered accountants, cost accountants, company secretaries, accountants working in the companies, and the auditors auditing the books of accounts of different companies. This section is more relevant and pertinent for all such professionals. I'm sure they will certainly find a value in this session that we are conducting today. I wish to keep this session open today. That means as we keep on discussing various aspects of Section 198 as to how to calculate profit as per Section 198, anyone who may have on the audience who may have any doubt, they can always unmute themselves, or they can first raise their hand, and once they raise their hand, and then at the appropriate time, I will come back to them, or maybe Rishikesh, I will request you if you can please keep a track of all such.
I'll do it, sir. I'll do it. I'll keep records.
Yeah, so that in case if they have any doubt, those doubts can get clarified from.
I'm requesting all the participants, if you have any doubt, you can share on a chat, right? And you can put message on Facebook also. Yeah. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
They can even type the question in the chat box, so that should also be good enough. Okay.
Yes.
The whole idea is that their doubts and queries must get clarified, because the whole idea behind thinking of doing this session on Section 198 is because I'm aware of the fact that there is a lot of confusion in the minds of people when it comes to the computation of profit as per Section 198. Because we all know as to how to calculate the profit for the purpose of financial reporting, but for the purpose of Section 135 and for the purpose of Section 197, the profit has to be calculated differently, and that is as per Section 198. Now, this Section 198 encompasses a lot of deductions that should be made, a lot of additions that should be made, and things like that. So therefore, the whole idea of doing this session is to bring clarity with regard to the computation of profit as per Section 198. And why is that important? Let's understand first. There are two sections in the Companies Act. One is Section 135, and the Section 135 is about the CSR, corporate social responsibility. So this Section 135 of the Companies Act puts an obligation on the corporates, certain corporates, where they have to spend 2% of their net profit, 2% of their average last 3 years net profit on the CSR activities. This is the mandatory requirement as per the law. Now, the net profit which is referred in Section 135 is not the same net profit which is presented in the financial reporting. So that net profit and the net profit for the purpose of Section 135 are completely different. And therefore, for Section 135, we have to compute profit as per Section 198. And same is the case with regard to Section 197. So Section 197 puts an overall maximum ceiling on the managerial remuneration. As per Section 197, the maximum remuneration, that managerial remuneration that can be paid by a company, is restricted to 11% of the net profit. Which net profit? The net profit as computed as per section 198. And I'm sure, friends, as we move forward, so those of you who are already into it, they would know in any case. But those of you who have been requiring to compute section 198 and have had some confusion, I am sure all your confusions will get definitely clarified today. So section 135 के हिसाब से profit has to be computed. Section 197 के लिए भी profit has to be computed. And how these profits are to be computed? These profits are to be computed as specified in section 198. So 198, remember the objective of 198 is number one, why this section 198 is there in the Companies Act 2013. Section 198 is there in the Companies Act 2013 for the simple reason to ensure standardization of computation of the net profit for the purpose of section 135, which is on corporate social responsibility, and section 197, which is on the managerial remuneration. I'm sure, friends, you can understand. Given a choice, if it is not specified, then what can happen? Different companies will assume different net profit for the purpose of 135 and for the purpose of 197, which is not good as far as the financial reporting is concerned, as far as the transparency is concerned, as far as the good corporate governance is concerned. So therefore, you have this section 198 in the Companies Act, and this section 198 ensures that all the companies who have to compute the profit as per section 198, they do so in a very standardized manner. But despite the fact that the law brings out all the clauses very clearly, but many times for some reason or the other, there are bound to be some confusion with regard to certain clauses, and there are also bound to be confusion कि कहाँ से शुरू करें? Section 198 का profit calculate करना, where to start from? Do I start afresh? That means, do I start from the trial balance, or do I start from the PBT, profit before tax, which is given as per the accounting gap in my financial reporting, or can I start from the gross profit, or can I start computing profit as per section 198 from the EBITDA or from the EBIT, so on and so forth. Now, all those doubts and all those questions are bound to be there in the minds of all the people who are concerned with section 135, 197, and also section 198. So friends, that is the objective in this program today, and these are the two things that we would cover in addition to the computation of section 198. अब देखिए, मैं आपको एक चीज बताता हूँ यहाँ पर। सबसे पहले जरूरी है कि हम ये समझ लें कि 198 की जरूरत क्यों पड़ी और 198 का रैशनल क्या है। अगर हमको 198 की जरूरत क्यों पड़ी ये समझ में आ जाए और 198 के पीछे रैशनल क्या है ये समझ में आ जाए, थिंग्स स्टार्ट बिकमिंग वेरी सिंपल। मेरा ऐसा मानना है कि जब भी हमें कोई पॉइंट डिस्कस करना है, पॉइंट के ऊपर चर्चा करनी है, पॉइंट को सॉल्व करना है, तो बेस्ट थिंग इज गो टू द रूट ऑफ इट, एंड द मोमेंट यू गो टू द रूट ऑफ इट, द आंसर्स स्टार्ट इमर्जिंग ऑटोमेटिकली. And I'm sure, friends, this is what you would experience as we would progress in this session today. So what is the rationale behind the computation of profit as per section 198? So why the section 198 has been inserted in the Companies Act? What is the rationale? Friends, the rationale is very simple. Section 198 is for the purpose of, number one, for section 197. And what is 197 about? 197 is about the maximum remuneration, the maximum ceiling with regard to the managerial remuneration, which is 11%. Now the question is, what is the rationale? The rationale behind section 198 is, जब आप उसके हिसाब से कंप्यूट करेंगे तो आपके ध्यान में आएगा, the rationale behind section 198 is the managerial remuneration should be linked with the profit. Which profit? Profit which is accruing to the business on account of the efforts of the managerial team. And that is the rationale behind computation of profit as per section 198 for the purpose of determining maximum ceiling of managerial remuneration for section 197. फिर से रिपीट करता हूं, क्यों जरूरत पड़ी? 198 सेक्शन को इंसर्ट करने की, सेक्शन 198 को इंसर्ट करने की जरूरत इसलिए पड़ी ताकि managerial remuneration, maximum managerial remuneration which can be paid by a company, that remuneration must be linked with the profit which can be credited to the efforts of the managerial team. So if a business is making some profit or is making some loss, it would be incorrect to pass the credit or debit. Okay, if a business is making some profit or some loss for which the efforts of the managerial team are not responsible, it would be incorrect to credit or debit the managerial remuneration on this account. It would be unfair to the managerial team to give them lesser remuneration because some loss which has occurred in the business, which is not because of the managerial team, उनका रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी नहीं है, उनका फॉल्ट नहीं है, और लॉस कंपनी को हो रहा है, और वो लॉस को अगर आप नेट प्रॉफिट के कंप्यूटेशन में से माइनस करेंगे, व्हाट विल हैपन, द मैक्सिमम सीलिंग ऑफ द रेम्यूनरेशन व्हिच इज वर्किंग आउट विल रिड्यूस. So if the maximum ceiling of the remuneration which is working out, if it gets reduced, that means the managerial person will get lesser remuneration or will be eligible for a lesser amount of remuneration, and vice versa. So what is vice versa? कि अगर कोई एक कंपनी को, if a profit is accruing to a business on account of sale of a capital asset. Now, if a profit is accruing to a business on account of sale of a capital asset, and if you add this profit to the net profit for the purpose of computing the maximum ceiling as per section 197, what will happen? The amount of the maximum ceiling is going to expand. And why it is expanding? It is expanding because you have added a profit which is on account of sale of a capital asset. What is the contribution of the managerial team as regards to the sale of the capital asset? It's all incidental, and therefore the spirit, the rationale behind section 198 is to ensure to take into account only those income which can be credited to the efforts of the managerial team, to deduct only those expenses which expenses are in relation to the income to which are credited to the efforts of the managerial team. And this is the rationale and the logic behind section 198. इससे क्या होगा? इससे you will arrive at a figure of the net profit which is due to the efforts of the managerial team, and therefore it will be perfectly fine to use this profit as the base for the purpose of ascertaining 11% maximum ceiling of remuneration for which the managerial team of the company would be eligible. So this is the friends is the rationale and the logic. Now this same computation, the same logic is also applicable as regards to the spending on corporate social responsibility. Now friends, let me tell you at this point in time, अगर आप मुझसे पूछें, if you ask me, this clause of 135 in the Companies Act 2013, in my view, this section should not have been there at all. Why it should not have been there? Or rather, when this section was proposed in 2012-13, the industry should have opposed. Industry should have said, we are running the business, we are making profit, we will take responsibility of ensuring that enough money is spent on the corporate social responsibility. Let the government not impose any law or rule onto us in this regard. But there was no opposition from the industry side, and therefore the government has gone ahead with it, and they have imposed this condition of 2% of the profit to be spent by the companies on the CSR activities. So really speaking, the industry does not get credit for this 2% spending. The government gets the credit for this 2% spending on the CSR by the corporates. Okay, that apart. Now, so the same logic, as I explained to you with regard to section 197, is also applicable in the context of section 135. तो वो जो profit आपने section 197 के लिए calculate किया, the same profit is also, it also becomes a basis for the purpose of deciding 2% average profit of last 3 years for the purpose of spending on the CSR activities. So friends, this is the background, and I'm sure all of you must be thoroughly clear as to what is the rationale behind section 198 profit computation. I am sure you must be absolutely clear behind section 197 objective and also section 135 objective. Now, with this understanding, before I move forward, I would like to ask, sorry, I would like to ask all of you, in case if you have any question, any one of you can please ask me and I will take your question and then we will move forward. So in case if there is any question, Rishikesh, on
any
the...
question. Sir, we don't have any question. All right.
Okay, good.
I was going through Facebook also.
Yeah.
Not found any questions. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Good. Let's go to the next point now. Let us have clarity about various provisions of section 198. Okay, so when you as the chief accounts officer or the CFO or the auditor or the member of the accounts or finance team, now when you have to calculate net profit as per section 198, one thing is very clear, that the profit for the purpose of section 198 is not same as the profit computed as per the accounting GAAP. Certainly not. So one thing is very clear, that the profit for the purpose of section 135 and 197 under section 198 has to be calculated separately. So the profit as per section 98 has to be by way of a separate calculation. Let us have clarity about the provisions of section 198 one by one. और ये एक बार क्लैरिटी हमारे दिमाग में बैठ गई, आई एम श्योर आगे की जर्नी हमारी बहुत आसान हो जाएगी. So let us look at that. I have discussed this already with you. So what is supposed to be computed under section 198? Is it the profit or net profit? And why I'm asking this question, friends, because section 198, in the heading says profit, but the main body of the section talks about net profit. So we also need to be clear as to what is being computed under section 198. Are we calculating profit or are we calculating net profit? And let me tell you, friends, the answer of course is very simple. We are not calculating profit. We are not calculating not net profit as per the financial reporting, as per the accounting GAAP. What we are calculating a figure of profit which can be termed to be on account of the efforts of the managerial team. And why? Because it is on this profit they will be eligible to get their managerial remuneration. So we are not calculating profit in the sense of the accounting. We are not calculating profit, net profit in the sense of accounting. What we are calculating a figure which we are referring as profit. We are calculating a figure which we are referring as a profit. And what this figure is the difference between the income and the expenses that are supposed to be or supposedly on account of the efforts of the managerial team. And that is what we need to be totally aware. Remember, friends, all these points that I'm discussing with you at this point in time are the foundation. You must be very clear about them, because once you are clear about all these points, then the computation of 198 becomes very easy. And I'm sure this is what you will experience. Now, let us have a clarity about various provisions of section 198. So there is first provision is section 198 1A. So section 198 1A is, it says what? It says credit shall be given for the sums is specified in subsection 2. Meaning what? Meaning the items which are mentioned under subsection 2 of section 198, all those items are to be added as part of the income for the purpose of calculating a profit as per section 198. Meaning what? Meaning अगर आपने जो प्रॉफिट कैलकुलेट किया है उसमें इन आइटम्स को अगर आपने ऐड नहीं किया है, then what you need to do? You need to add such item. So the items which, and which there is only one item, the item which are forming part, items which are forming part of section 198 subsection 2, you have to include them as part of your profit computation, as part of your income in the profit computation. So that is clause number, that is number one. Number two, section 198 1A further says credit shall not be given for those specified in subsection 3. Meaning what? Meaning all the items which are listed under subsection 3 of section 198, all those items of income, credit will not be given for all these items. That means आपकी जो प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी है, आपने जो अकाउंटिंग गैप के हिसाब से जो प्रॉफिट कंप्यूट किया है, उस अकाउंटिंग गैप के हिसाब से जो आपने प्रॉफिट कंप्यूट किया है उसमें आपने सारे इनकम के फिगर लिए होंगे ऑब्वियसली. लेकिन अगर उसमें if there is an item which is part of subsection 3 of section 198, then this item will need to be removed for the purpose of computation of the profit as per section 198. तो अगर आपने इंक्लूड नहीं किया है, अच्छी, okay, so that means if you now depending on where are you starting from, depending on where you are starting from, if you are starting afresh, यानी कि आप सेक्शन 198 का जो प्रॉफिट है उसका सेपरेट कैलकुलेशन एक्सेल शीट में कर रहे हैं, तो फिर उस समय आपको क्या करना पड़ेगा? उस समय आपको ये करना पड़ेगा कि सब सेक्शन 3 में जो भी आइटम्स हैं वो आपको लेने ही नहीं है. लेकिन अगर आप पीबीटी का फिगर लेके शुरू कर रहे हैं, दैट मींस द फिगर ऑफ प्रॉफिट बिफोर टैक्स एज पर दी अकाउंटिंग गैप, वहां से शुरू कर रहे हैं और उसमें से किसी फिगर को लेके शुरू कर रहे हैं, तो फिर आपको क्या करना पड़ेगा कि फिर आपको उस फिगर में से, वो जो पीबीटी का फिगर आपने लिया है उसमें से सब सेक्शन 3 में जो भी आइटम्स हैं जो कि आपने इनकम में इंक्लूड किए हुए हैं ऑलरेडी, फॉर द पर्पस ऑफ सेक्शन 198 यू विल हैव टू रिमूव देम. That is the meaning of section 198 1A when it says that credit shall not be given for those specified in subsection 3. Then you have a section 198 1B, and it says the sums specified in subsection 4 shall be deducted. क्या मतलब है इसका? इसका मतलब यह है कि the items which are included as part of subsection 4 of section 198, all these items are supposed to be the routine expenses of a business. And since they are routine operating expenses of the business, operating expenses or administrative expenses or financial expenses, since they pertain to the normal operations of the business, then all the items which are covered in subsection 4, those will have to be deducted. क्या मतलब है इसका? इसका मतलब ये है कि अगर आप फ्रेश कंप्यूटेशन कर रहे हो इन एक्सेल शीट, तो आपको क्या करना है? तो फिर आपको ये जो आइटम्स हैं जो कि सब सेक्शन 4 में दिए हैं, उन सारे एक्सपेंसेस को आपको इनकम में से माइनस करना है. और अगर आप पीबीटी का फिगर से शुरू कर रहे हो, फ्रॉम बेस्ड ऑन दी पीबीटी फिगर एज पर दी अकाउंटिंग गैप, अगर वहां से शुरू कर रहे हो, तो फिर आपको क्या करना होगा? आपको ये देखना होगा कि ये जो सारे खर्चे, जो एक्सपेंसेस हैं जो सब सेक्शन 4 में हैं, वो सारे के सारे ऑलरेडी डिडक्ट हुए हैं कि नहीं हुए हैं. अगर ऑलरेडी डिडक्ट हुए हैं, नथिंग टू वरी. अगर ऑलरेडी डिडक्ट नहीं हुए हैं, समथिंग हैज रिमेन्ड, देन व्हाट यू विल नीड टू डू फॉर द पर्पस ऑफ सेक्शन 198, you will have to deduct that expense if it is not deducted already, so as to arrive at the figure of profit as per section 198. And finally, section 198 1B further says those specified in subsection 5 shall not be deducted. अब देखिए, सबसेक्शन 4 में जो आइटम्स हैं वो उन एक्सपेंसेस को आपको डिडक्ट करना है फॉर द पर्पस ऑफ कंप्यूटेशन ऑफ योर प्रॉफिट एज पर सेक्शन 198. लेकिन सबसेक्शन 5 में जो आइटम्स हैं उनको आपको डिडक्ट नहीं करना है। क्या मतलब है? मतलब ये कि अगर आपने उनको डिडक्ट कर दिया है ऑलरेडी, you add them back for the purpose of arriving your profit as per section 198, so that you are able to determine as to how much profit is available for spending on CSR, so that you are aware, you know as to how much profit is available for the purpose of managerial remuneration. Now friends, now what we do, now we will go all these sections one by one. We'll go all these sections one by one and look at each and every section one by one, and with the reason as to why it is done so. So this is your section 198 subsection 2. So before I move forward, let me ask you this, this once again. Rishikesh, any question from anyone?
No, sir. No, sir.
Very good. Very good. All right, friends. So now we are on the, now what we are doing is we are computing profit as per section 198. And for the purpose of computing profit as per section 198, now what we are doing is we are looking at each and every subsection of section 198 item wise and understand कि कौन सा ऐड होना चाहिए और क्यों ऐड होना चाहिए, और कौन सा ऐड नहीं होना चाहिए और क्यों नहीं ऐड होना चाहिए, कौन सा डिडक्ट होना चाहिए, क्यों डिडक्ट होना चाहिए, कौन सा डिडक्ट नहीं होना चाहिए, क्यों डिडक्ट नहीं होना चाहिए, और अगर if we have made a mistake of adding an item wrongly or deducting an item wrongly, then what is that we are supposed to be doing in that case. Right, friends. So section 198 subsection 2 says, in making the computation, credit shall be given for the bounties and subsidies received from any government or any public authority constituted or authorized in this behalf by any government, unless and except insofar as the central government otherwise directs. क्या मतलब है इसका? इसका मतलब यह है कि अगर बिजनेस को, अगर कंपनी को गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से कोई बाउंटी मिलती है, कोई सब्सिडी मिलती है, और गवर्नमेंट ने इस बाउंटी को, इस सब्सिडी को सेक्शन 198 में इंक्लूड करने से मना नहीं किया है, then such bounty, such subsidy will be included as income for the purpose of section 198. I'm sure this is completely and crystally clear. There can be a doubt, and what the doubt should be? The doubt should be the bounty or the subsidy can be in the form of revenue item, or it can be in the form of capital item. Now, if you read the section 198 and subsection 2, it does not clarify as to what is to be done in case of the revenue bounty, what is to be done in case of a capital bounty. Now, my understanding will be, if it is a revenue bounty, revenue subsidy, then it has to be added as part of the income for the as part of the profit for the as part of the income for the purpose of computation of profit under section 198. But if this is a subsidy or bounty in the form of a capital item, then in my view it should not be added for the purpose of computation of profit as per section 198. And I think, I'm sure I even do not have to explain as to why, and you will understand as to why it should not be added if it is a capital item. Now we go to section 198 subsection 3. Now, so what section 198 subsection 3 says, in computation of profit as per section 198, credit shall not be given for the following sums. So the section is very clearly saying that these items which are given in subsection 3 of section 198, even though these are the items of income, but For the purpose of computation of profit as per section 198, these items will not be forming part of the income. Which these items are? So item number A is profit by way of premium on share or debenture of the company, which are issued or sold by the company, unless the company is an investment company as referred to in clause A of the explanation to section 186. So क्या मतलब है इसका? सीधी सी बात है, इसके दो मतलब हो गए. एक मतलब तो ये हुआ कि when a company is raising capital, and when the company is raising capital and it is raising the capital at a premium, so it is very clear that the amount of premium which is received, will not be added as income for the purpose of computing profit as per section 198, for the obvious reason, because this premium is part of the capital. It is not the revenue that the company is earning, and therefore it will not be forming part of the income of under section 198. Even if it is an investment company, doesn't really matter. Even in case of an investment company also, if the company is raising capital, investment company is raising capital, and it is raising capital at a premium, then this premium, even in case of investment company also, will not be part of the income under section 198, for the obvious reason, because this is a capital. This is capital. This is not a revenue income for the company. But in case of an investment company, so when they are buying and selling the investment, if they are making profit, that profit obviously is an operating profit for that company, and therefore that profit has to be included. So that is your point number A under section 198 subsection 3. Point B, profit on sale by the company of forfeited shares. So sometimes we all know, so a company can forfeit the shares and can reissue these shares. And many times when the companies reissue these shares, they end up in getting more money than what will be otherwise due on those shares. So such amount is not a business income, and in any case, there is no contribution from the side of the managerial team, and therefore such extra money collected on the forfeited shares by a company will not be part of the income under section 198. See, profit of a capital nature, including profits from the sale of the undertaking or any of the undertakings of the company or of any part thereof. Remember, the managerial team is for what? Is for running the operations. Buying and selling of an asset is incidental to running the operations, and therefore the managerial team can be entitled to get their remuneration, which can be linked only with the profit which are generated from the operations of the company. If the company has to sell an asset, and if company makes a profit on the sale of that asset, then this profit, even though will be part of the profit as far as the financial reporting is concerned, for the section 198, this profit will not be included as income for section 198. I suppose that makes very clear to everyone. Now, then you have item D as part of section 198 subsection 3. And what D says, it says profit from the sale of any immovable property or fixed assets of a capital nature comprised in the undertaking or any of the undertaking of the company, unless the business of the company consists, whether wholly or partly, of buying and selling any such property or assets. I think it's very clear. तो अगर कोई बिजनेस, किसी कंपनी का काम ही ये है to buy the companies and sell the companies, and if they buy the assets and sell the assets, and in the process if they make the profit, remember, even though they are buying the assets and selling the assets and they are making profit by buying and selling the assets, even then the profit that this business will earn will be considered to be the operational profit. and therefore, in such case, the profit will be part of section 198 computation. But if it is not a company whose main business is to deal in the assets, in such case, this profit which is earned will not be added to the computation under section 198. Provided, and there's a rider to it, provided that where the company, provided that where the amount for which, and this is interesting, and you must note, provided where the amount for which any fixed asset is sold exceeds the written down value, credit shall be given for so much of the excess as is not higher than the difference between the original cost and that fixed cost and its written down value. क्या मतलब है? अब देखिए, इसका मतलब ये है कि अगर an asset is being sold and that asset is being sold at an amount which is less than the written down value, so obviously there is no profit. Since there is no profit, there is no question of any credit being given in computation of profit under section 198. Another situation can be a asset is being sold, but it is being sold at an amount which is higher than the written down value. Now, in this case, section 198 subsection 3 clause D says that in such case, any profit earned because the asset is being sold over and above the written down value, then in computation of profit under section 198, credit shall be given to such excess. But remember, this excess cannot be more than the difference between the original cost of the asset minus the written down value. Let me explain this to you with the help of an example. So original cost, let's say, is 100, written down value is 50. Difference between the original cost and written down value is 50. Now, asset is sold for 50 or less, no credit, obviously, because there is no profit happening. So there is no profit happening. There cannot be any credit in section 198. Asset is sold for 60 rupees, and the credit will be taken of rupees 10 in computation of profit under section 198. Why? Because the asset is being sold over and above the written down value, and therefore the intention of the provision of the act is that this can be considered to be on account of the efforts made by the managerial team, and therefore they should be eligible to this to be part of the managerial ceiling. Asset is sold for 110. Now remember, original cost is 100 rupees. Asset is being sold for 110. The written down value is 50 rupees. So the difference of the income which is earned is 60 rupees. But the clause D says that the maximum credit that can be allowed in a case like this will be restricted to the difference between the original cost of the asset minus the written down value. So which means it is going to be 50 rupees and not 60 rupees. So this is your clause D of section 198 subsection 3. Then you have a clause E again as part of section 198 subsection 3. So clause E says any change, and please note this is very interesting, any change in carrying amount of an asset or of a liability recognized in equity reserves, including surplus in profit and loss, on measurement of the asset or the liability at fair value. Please pay attention, and I'm sure you can understand it very clearly. So what is happening is a profit is being credited either to the equity reserve or to the profit and loss. And it is being credited on account of what? It is being credited on account of fair value measurement. So what is fair value measurement? The fair value measurement is an asset is being measured. The fair value of an asset is more than the carrying amount of that asset. So the difference is supposed to be the profit. Now, if this profit is taken to the equity reserve, or this profit is taken to the profit and loss account, remember, this profit is unrealized gain, Whether it is going to happen finally or not going to happen, only time will tell. And in any case, what is the contribution of the managerial team in this increase in the asset or decrease in the value of a liability on account of fair value measurement? The answer is none. And since the answer is none, any increase in the value of an asset or decrease in the value of a liability on account of fair value measurement will not be given credit for computation of profit under section 198. It is as simple as that. Clause F of section 198(3) says any amount representing unrealized gains, notional gains, or revaluation of assets, credit will not be given for any such unrealized gain or notional gain or revaluation on revaluation of asset. Credit will not be given any such gain in computation of profit under section 198. And I'm sure you can understand for the reason, because this is unrealized gain, and in any case it is in respect of a capital asset, and therefore it will not be part of the profit computation. Now we come to subsection 4 of section 198. So what section 4 of section 198 says? It says, in making the computation of profit as per section 198, the following sums shall be deducted. That means all the items which are included as part of subsection 4 of section 198, for all these expenses, there has to be deduction. That means all these expenses need to be deducted in computation of profit for the purpose of section 198. And as I said earlier, why these are to be deducted? Because as you would notice, and when we go through them, why they would need to be deducted? They would need to be deducted because these are the normal operating expenses, routine operating expenses, or administrative expenses, or financial cost, and therefore they need to be deducted. So we'll look at them one by one. So clause A says all the usual working charges, यानी कि आपको business चलाने में जो भी आपके material cost है, manufacturing cost है, all the expenses that you incur in running your operations, all those expenses are your normal expenses, and therefore all those normal expenses have to be deducted from your business income, for the purpose of arriving at the profit under section 198. Director's remuneration has to be deducted. Whatever it may have been, it has to be deducted. Bonus or commission paid or payable to any member of the company's staff or to any engineer, technician, or person employed or engaged by the company, whether on full-time or on part-time basis, any such bonus or commission which is paid has to be deducted. Now, see, this is what goes wrong here, because really speaking, there was no need in the act to specify engineer or technician, because that creates confusion. Because then people start thinking that the clause is saying only for the engineer and the technician. What about the other people? And see, this is how the human mind works. And they get confused because they start reading the law literally, and they say it's only for the technician, only for the engineers, and therefore if the bonus is paid to others other than the engineer or technician, or the commission is paid to somebody other than the technician or the engineer, that is not to be deducted. Please understand the logic. What is the logic? Logic is to find what is the logic of section 198. Logic of section 198 is to find out the profit which can be credited to the efforts of the managerial team. And for finding out that, whatever the income which is earned because of their efforts, take that as an income. What are the expenses which are incurred to earn this income? Deduct them. So whether you have paid a bonus or commission to an engineer or technician or a salesperson or somebody else, doesn't really matter, deduct it. Any tax, the clause D says any tax notified by the central government as being in the nature of a tax on excess or abnormal profit. So remember, now this is a tax which is in respect of excess or abnormal profits. So therefore, it has to be deducted. it has to be deducted. Why? Because this is an expense which is happening in the ordinary course. This tax is happening in the ordinary course, right? And this is over and above. Remember, this tax is over and above the corporate tax the company will have to pay in the end. So what you're trying to find out? You're trying to find out profit before that tax, which can be credited to the efforts of the manager team. So any such tax deducted. Any tax on business profits imposed for special reasons or in special circumstances and notified by the central government in this behalf has to be deducted. Interest on debentures issued by the company. Now, see again, because sometimes, when you specify, you create confusion. It would have been better on the part of the law writers to simply say any interest the business in respect of any loan the company may have taken the purpose of its operations. All such interested will be eligible for deduction. Now, if it would have been the clause under subsection 4, section 198, things would have become much easier. Now, what is happening is, as you see forward, so under F, debenture is mentioned, and subsequently, as we see, interest on mortgage is mentioned. Then it says interest on loans and advances is mentioned. Now, only three interests are mentioned as far as the subsection 4 of section 198 is concerned. This creates confusion. What confusion? Because people start thinking, okay, only debenture is given, only mortgage is given, only unsecured loans and advances are given, others are not given. That means interest paid on other loans will not be deducted. Completely wrong. Completely wrong. Any interest paid on any debt taken by the business for the purpose of its operations, that interest has to be deducted. Whether it is forming part of subsection, forming part of subsection, something is.
Sir, go ahead. Go ahead, sir.
Okay.
Please.
No, because there was some disturbance in between.
Yes,
Rishikesh.
yeah.
Okay, so what has to be noted? Simple. Any interest which is paid by the company on a debt which it has taken for the purpose of running its operations doesn't really matter वो secured है, unsecured है, mortgage पे है कि नहीं mortgage पे है, debenture है कि term loan है, doesn't really matter. It's an interest for the purpose of operations deducted. Expenses on repairs, whether to immovable or to movable property, provided the repairs are not of capital expenditure. That of course is understood, but again remember, you are talking only of the repairs. So again it might create confusion, but just remember. So the clause I says that expenses on repair, obviously repair can be of two types: routine repair, capex repair. Capex repair is what? Capex repair is something where, because of the expenditure, the asset is going to be more productive, and it's going to increase its life. So if there is an expenditure of that kind, that you will not deduct, because that you will capitalize. But if there is an expense which is to maintain operating condition of the asset, that you will deduct from the income. Then you have outgoing inclusive of contributions made under section 181. So section 181 talks about the donations which a company can make to recognize charitable organizations after obtaining approval from the shareholders in the shareholders meeting. So if there are any such donations which are approved by the shareholders in the shareholders meeting and which are to the charitable organizations, such donations will be allowed to be deducted in the computation of profit as per section 198. And then of course you have a depreciation to the extent specified in section 123. So section 123 is about declaration of dividend. So section 123 talks about that before a company can decide to pay dividend, for ascertaining the profit for the purpose of Section 123 says that before a company can decide to pay dividend, and for the purpose of paying dividend, the company will have to calculate the profit, and while calculating the profit, company will have to make provision for depreciation, and that provision for depreciation has to be as per Schedule 2 of the Companies Act. And Schedule 2 of the Companies Act is basically a schedule that talks about the useful life of different assets. It has got Part A, Part B, and Part C. Now, the Part C specifically gives life of different kind of assets. Part A and Part B talks in terms of that a company can charge a higher depreciation or can consider life of an asset which is different from the life which is given in Part 3 of Schedule 2. But number one, the company will have to make a disclosure in the financials saying that as per the Part 3 of Schedule 2 of the Companies Act, life of this asset is supposed to be so many years. Company in its own judgment has considered this life to be so many years, and therefore the amount of depreciation is different by so much, and therefore the profit of the company is also different by so much. So this disclosure has to come as per Schedule 2 of the Companies Act, which is on the useful life of the assets. Now friends, यहाँ पर आपको एक चीज ध्यान रखनी होगी. क्या ध्यान रखनी होगी कि whatever depreciation is to be charged as per Schedule 3, Schedule 2, only so much of depreciation can be deducted in computation of profit under Section 198. So in case if a company has considered life of an asset which is different than what is given in Part 3, Part C of Schedule 2, then this company will have to make adjustment in the amount of depreciation while computing the profit for the purpose of Section 198. Then you have clause L, the excess of expenditure over income which had arisen in computing the net profit. So what the clause L talks about, friends, remember, and this is what you must really make note of it. Clause L of subsection 4 of Section 98 talks about that in case if this company in the past, while computing profit under Section 198, had a loss in the bottom, then this company will have to first set off that loss while computing the profit as per Section 198 before arriving the net profit as per Section 198. And this is the meaning of clause L. उसका मतलब ये है कि अगर as per Section 198 there have been losses in the past, first set them off. After you set them off, then only you can have a profit and not otherwise. Any compensation or damage, clause M, any compensation or damage to be paid in virtue of any legal liability. So कहने का मतलब क्या है कि because the company has there has been a case or legal proceeding or whatever, as a result of that, company had to pay some damages to other party. Any such payment shall be deducted for the purpose of Section 198. Any sum paid by way of insurance, so any expenses that the company incurs on insurance of its people or its assets will be deductible under clause 4, subclause 4, under subsection 4 of Section 198. And the clause D talks about, clause O talks about debts considered bad. So any bad debt that happens in a business, those bad debts also will be eligible for being deducted. Obviously, because your bad debts are what? Bad debts are nothing but part of your routine expenses. So since they are part of your routine expenses, for computing your profit under Section 198, the amount of such bad debts, you will be eligible or not eligible, you will be required to deduct them in any case. So this is, friends, as far as Section 4 is concerned. Now let's come to the subsection 5 and what subsection 5 talks about. So subsection 5 has got 4 clauses. The clause number 1 is A. Now what it says, income tax and super tax payable by the company under the Companies Act. So subsection 5, and please pay attention, subsection 5 says that in making the computation of profit as per section 198, the following sums shall not be deducted. Shall not be deducted. What does it mean? In simple words, if I can tell you, income tax, which is being computed by the entity. Now, this income tax for the purpose of section 198 will not be deducted. And why it will not be deducted? Remember, because the managerial team is responsible for generating the profit, the profit from the operations. The amount of tax, they do not have a control on the amount of tax because the amount of tax is decided by the government. So they can only be held responsible for the profit that they generate from the operations. And therefore, while computing profit as per section 198, any income tax which is to be paid as per the Income Tax Act, other than what we have discussed already, will not be deducted. So that means it does not depress the amount of profit available for the purpose of computing the maximum ceiling of remuneration as per section 197. Any compensation damages made voluntarily. So देखो हमने अभी थोड़ी देर पहले हमने सब सेक्शन 4 की जब बात करी क्लॉजों की, तो अब उसमें हमने डिस्कस किया कि अगर कोई क्लॉज एम, सो अगर कोई पेमेंट voluntarily करा जाता है by the company, then such voluntary payment of any damage or whatever shall not be deducted as per subsection 5 of section 198. Loss of capital nature, including, so remember earlier we discussed about the profit on account of a capital asset. Now we are talking about the loss on account of capital asset. So the logic is same. So any profit on account of the sale of the asset cannot be added to the income. Likewise, any loss on account of sale of an asset can also not be deducted. Remember, as we discussed earlier, the logic is very simple. The logic is the managerial team can be held accountable, held responsible only for the operating profit. Buying and selling of the assets is incidental to running the operations. So any profit or loss that happens on the sale or purchase of the asset is incidental, and therefore such profit or loss will not be taken into account for the purpose of computing profit as per section 198. So loss of capital nature, including loss on sale of the undertaking or any of the undertaking of the company, as I explained, will not be deducted. Because अगर आप ये loss को deduct करेंगे in computing the profit, then what is going to happen is the profit which is available for the purpose of fixing the maximum ceiling as per section 197 of 11%, that profit is going to be less, and therefore the remuneration that the managerial team will be eligible to get is going to suppress for no fault of theirs, and that is the logic behind this. Clause D, any change in carrying amount of an asset or of a liability recognized in equity reserves, including, so this is same as we discussed earlier. Earlier we discussed in the context of a gain as a result of fair value measurement. तो यानी कि किसी, जैसे पहले हमने डिस्कस किया कि अगर किसी कोई एसेट की वैल्यू बढ़ रही है because of the fair value measurement, it is only on paper. It is only on paper. So it is only a notional gain. It is only an unrealized gain that we discussed earlier. Now what we are talking about is unrealized loss or notional loss. So in case, because of the fair value measurement, if the value of an asset is going down or value of a liability is going up, then such increase in the value of a liability or decrease in the value of an asset will result in a notional or unrealized loss to the business which is accruing on account of fair value measurement. Such losses shall not be deducted for the purpose of computation of profit under section 198. Now, friends, we now come to the last part of this session. Now, एक question जो आप सभी के दिमाग में आता होगा, and I'm sure it must be there in the minds of every one of you. Where should I start from? तो अगर मुझे मेरी company, the company for which I'm CFO or Chief Accounts Officer or holding any other position, or if I'm the auditor and the computation of Section 198 is brought in front of me, or in any other role, where do I start from? So the answer to this question will be number one. Firstly, let us be clear that the profit before tax arrived at following the accounting gap is not the profit for the purpose of Section 198. I think that we must be totally clear, because two profits are completely different, bound to be different in all the cases. It is extremely unlikely that the profit computed as per accounting gap and profit computed as per Section 198 are going to be identical, highly unlikely to happen. Profit as per the gap and as per Section 198 are highly unlikely to be the same. So computation of profit under Section 198 will need to be done separately. So you have to do a separate computation altogether. Starting point can be the trial balance itself. So आप trial balance से चालू कर सकते हैं, resulting in fresh computation. So you start from the income and following the provisions of subsection 2, 3, 4, and 5 of Section 198, and all the items which are given there that we have discussed. Keep on adding them and deducting them, and you will get the profit as per Section 198 at the end of it. It can also be by way of adjustment to profit before tax as per the books. So आपने जो books के हिसाब से जो profit compute किया है, PBT का figure compute किया है, you can also make the adjustments. If you understand, as we have discussed, you can make on. So जो add होना चाहिए था, अगर वो ऐड हो गया है, नथिंग टू वरी. जो ऐड नहीं होना चाहिए था लेकिन ऐड हो गया है, उसको माइनस करिए. जो ऐड होना चाहिए था और ऐड नहीं हुआ है पीबीटी के फिगर में, उसको ऐड करिए. सो दिस इज हाउ you the second way of doing it. Actually, so you can also start with the PBT. You can start with gross profit. You can start with EBITDA. You can also start with EBIT. But only thing you remember, you will have to make all those adjustments. We just need to take care of provisions of Section 198, 1A and B that I discussed with you in the beginning. In any case, friends, irrespective of which is the starting point, the profit figure as per Section 198 will be the same. Rather, it has to be same. So it doesn't really matter you are starting afresh, or you're starting from PBT, or starting from EBITDA, or starting from gross profit, or starting from EBIT. It doesn't really matter where do you start from. If you do the adjustments rightly, then the profit figure under Section 198 is going to be exactly same. Rather, it has to be same. So friends, with this, I come to the end of my presentation on computation of profit under Section 198. I am sure this must have given you very good clarity about computation of profit under Section 198 for the purpose of Section 135 and for the purpose of Section 197. All these videos, friends, are available on the portal of Pune Business School of Pimpri Chinchwad Education Trust with the PPTs. So if you want to view any of these videos of today or of yesterday's, you can visit the portal of Pune Business School, Pimpri Chinchwad Education Trust. All these videos are also available on my YouTube channel. The only thing is, in case of my YouTube channel, you will have only the elaboration that I'm doing and no PPTs. So with this, friends, I come to the close of this session. Thank you so much and wish you a wonderful evening. In case if there are any questions, I would be very happy to take them. Thank you so much, and over to you, Rishikesh.
So thank you so much. We don't have any question, not on Facebook as well as on a Zoom. We don't have any questions, sir. One question I want to ask you, sir. May I ask you, sir, one question?
Please.
Yes, sir. When we talk about CSR activities, right? So as a company, when rightly said by you, there is a total 2% of your profit you should invest, or we should put your money for a social welfare, right?
Right.
So, sir, is there in a net profit before taxes, net profit after taxes? There is a different criteria for that. So I want to understand it. If in a number of time, what I'm doing, if I'm trying to invest some money in any social activities, from there also, I'll be getting a lot of profit. So again, CSR activity is also second income generation. As an independent, person, I'm asking you, sir. So what do you think, sir?
Actually, I understand your point, Rishikesh, but the expenditure which a company has to spend under the CSR head have to be non-commercial in nature.
Right, sir.
So whatever money they would be spending, they will not be generating any tangible benefit, any commercial benefit. They will get benefit of goodwill, reputation, creditworthiness, and all that, but they will not get any profit out of such expenditure.
Okay, fine. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Sir, you discussed on, clarity about section 198. You talk on objectives behind section 198. You talk on various provisions of section 198. Calculations was very important. And one more question, sir. When, if as a company, I'm not getting profit, so how we should calculate that remuneration to the directors if my company is not in profit? Or second question, if my company is not into in profit, and third is the how I'm going to calculate if my director is in different companies.
Okay, now that's a good question, Rishikesh.
Yes,
for it's not necessary that only when a company has a profit, then only it can pay remuneration to the managerial personnel. The only thing is, if a company is not having adequate profit, or if the company is having losses, then in such cases there is a limitation within which only these managerial people can be paid. If the company is having a profit, then you have section 197, and that says that can pay managerial remuneration.
Yes, Dattana sir, have you enjoyed today's session?
Yeah, it was great, sir. It has made very clear this. The computation part has become very clear.
Right. So there is a different
related. Actually, the reason behind the computation, that part has made everything easy.
Right. So just as I is going to join, again there is some technical issue.
Put it in chat, but it is not possible.
Okay, fine. Yeah.
The question is like section 135(1), net profit in 135 subsection 1 and in subsection 5 of 135. Are these two different or the same?
Okay, fine. Sir, can you share me my number at least, and I'll forward it to sir.
Yeah, you want my contact number?
Yeah, no. You send me a question on my, that my number, right? Just I forward this, sir. Fine.
The chat, in the chat it is showing that Tushar Bhuvan privately. So
no. At least you can send. No issue. At least that's open to all. I think. There's no problem. Everyone publicly, at least you can send message on chat. No issue, sir.
Everyone. Okay.
Yes. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Profit under section 135(1) and under section 135(5) were different or the same. Okay, fine. So just we'll share it to sir. So I think I'm going to wind up today's session, right? Fine, sir.
Okay.
So thank you so much. I must mention our deep sense of appreciation for CA Pramod Jain sir for his on the topic how to compute profit under section 198 of the Companies Act 2013. Our heartfelt thanks to our participant for active participation with these warm words and a kind message. We move to the end of today's webinar. We'll meet tomorrow sharp at 5 p.m. on the topic how to pass CA exam, CS exam, CMA, CIMA, CA, PA, CFA, ACCA, MBA exams and all. Thank you so much.